People in Ethiopia or in Amhara region are not anti-America in any form or way, but we are trying to send a very clear message to the United States that
if you are against an elected, person, government in Africa, then therefore means you are an enemy to Africa. And the entire African, the president should speak against that. The AU should speak against that. And all of us as Pan-African people should speak against that. We are not going to accept it. It doesn't matter, how big they are, how hard, how powerful they think they can be. They will have to speak against that because it is inhuman for them to do that.
Given the heavy-handedness of U.S. sanctions on Africa, can we say Africa is truly free, truly independent in the 21st century?
I would say no. Africa is not free. Africa has never been free.
When we talk about Africa, we cannot leave aside the continent's recent past, colonization, exploitation, the struggle for independence, the killing of its revolutionary leaders like Patrice Lumumba, Thomas Sankara.
Killing our leaders will make us to become afraid to stand up for ourselves, and of course, again, to keep us down by all means necessary.
You're watching Messenger from Amhara Media Corporation. Today, Messenger asks us, could sanctions stabilize, democratize, or create peace in Ethiopia? I'm Yanis Jala. The United States government is processing new sanctions that target the people and the government of Ethiopia. The most dangerous bill is HR 6600. They call it Ethiopia's Stabilization, Peace, and Democracy Act. The point is, could sanctions stabilize, democratize, or create peace in Ethiopia? To discuss this very important question, my guest today is Global Chairperson of United Pan-Africanist Movement, Benedicto Mbango. He joins me from the United States of America via Zoom. I'm delighted to have you on this show once more.
Thank you very much. I'm very, very happy to be here again for my second time. And I want to say hello to every viewers out there, and I'm glad to be here. Thank you for having me.
When we talk about Africa, we cannot leave aside the continent's recent past, colonization, exploitation, the struggle for independence, the killing of its revolutionary leaders like Patrice Lumumba, Thomas Sankara, and Muammar Gaddafi. Having all this in mind, what is your take on U.S. sanctions on Africa as a Pan-Africanist activist?
This is the whole strategy for the Western power to suppress the African people. In the past, they've known that killing our leaders will make us to become afraid to stand up for ourselves, and of course, again, to keep us down by all means necessary. And we, as the African people, we've seen that there's no way we can keep being afraid. And of course, with the current age, with technology and all, people rising up, understanding that there's a very big problem that we are facing in the continent of Africa, and we have to do something which is very important. There is a reason why, again, that the Pan-Africanist movement is reborn, and it's reborn with 7 different organizations, and we are the United Pan-Africanist Movement, based on uniting the people within the continent and those the diaspora together, so that we can be able to stand for one Africa and fight, for one Africa, so we can be able to bring empowerment to all the citizens of the people of Africa and Africans to diaspora. Also create a possibility for the Africans to diaspora, like those in the Caribbean and America, to be able to return back home. Now, when it comes to sanction, that they're doing right now, in Ethiopia, which of course they've done that. They did that also when Muammar Gaddafi was still alive with Libya. That that didn't impact him. He was able to rise up and be able to make his country a greater country without the influence of the outside, or maybe even have anything to do with getting any loans from any Western colonization. That is why they did not like him, because he didn't beg from them. He didn't ask from them. He was able to build everything from scratch and to make Libya to become a better place. And the only means they can be able to make us suffer is to eliminate him, take him out of the surface.
You're watching Messenger from Amhara Media Corporation. Today, Messenger asks us, could sanctions stabilize, democratize, or create peace in Ethiopia?
So when it comes to sanctions in Africa, as a Pan-African, I would say the vision of Pan-Africanism is, is to unify the African nation where all people of African and diaspora come together for economic prosperity and for, of course, have one destination. While sanctions is actually more of a political thing. And that, I mean, they will do everything possible pretty much to be able to make sure they can be able to put different countries with low power down. That's why they have all these sanctions happening. The funny thing is that if we had actually united the African people during the 1960s, this sanction wouldn't have been happening in the continent because we are being the superpower today. But the unity did not happen. And of course, so that now we are facing with all sanctions and wars and internal conflicts and all that stuff. And they are trying to do everything possible to make sure that we, face the consequences if we do not listen to them or respect the rule that they are giving to us. So as a Pan-African, I believe sanctions, it shouldn't be something that it should be all on the negative side, but it should also look at on the positive side. It's going to help us as African people to start building a sustainable system, make us more independent so that we don't have to beg from them.
Given the heavy-handedness of US sanctions on Africa, can we say Africa is truly free, truly independent in the 21st century?
I would say no. Africa is not free. Africa has never been free, in as much as we have what we call freedom. During the 1960s, we have not been freed. And of course, again, the sanction, if we were free, the sanction would have never been a problem, because they would not be sanctioning us if we were free, because we are people. If you're free, you can be able to do whatever you want, right? They want Ethiopia to come there and beg. So this is how they levy Ethiopia right now. They say the war in Ethiopia has created one of the worst humanitarian crises in the world. That is very bad. And they say, and also all the combatants, along with their foreign backers, are responsible for horrific abuses of human rights. They did not look at what happened in Iraq. They did not look at what happened in Afghanistan. They don't look at what happened in Libya. They don't look at what has been happening in the Republic of Congo, and they're not looking at what is happening in Sudan. They're also looking at what is happening currently in Russia and Ukraine. Now they are laboring. Brothers and Sisters Fight has the worst humanitarian crisis in the world. This is how the West always paints you. They trying to discredit, whatever you're trying to do. They're trying to sabotage the dignity of a country. If you do not follow what they ask you to say, they will do everything possible to destroy your image so that nobody can trust you. Everybody will look at you like a bad person. So I would say that Africa is not free. Neither even Ethiopia, even though it was never colonized, but it's not still free. That's why they are pushing so hard so that it can maintain power over countries like Ethiopia and the rest of the other African countries, and also the other countries that has a little or no power.
The rebel group TPLF openly admitted that it is the one that attacked the Ethiopian National Defense Force on November 3, 2020. Since July, this rebel group had invaded large territory and committed heinous crimes, mass killings, rape, looted hundreds of health facilities, destroyed more than 1,000 schools, and 3 universities in Afar and Amhara regions. On top of this, the US government seems determined to punish not this terrorist group, but the people of Ethiopia with crippling sanctions. Do you think Ethiopia deserves this punishment?
Ethiopians don't deserve that. Again, if you want to look at it very well, if you understand the situation, if you have citizens, I'll call them citizens of Ethiopia, fighting against the government for some reason, and then the United States or the Western powers come in and support the other part of it instead of the government in power, it therefore means there is something that they don't want in that government, and they're looking for every means necessary to take away that government so they can put somebody in there that that will listen to them and follow what they're saying. Again, this is what I talk about, sabotaging a country. So Ethiopian people does not need that at this moment. I also want to say that the war in Ethiopia, it's a brother and sisters fight. The people of the West do not understand the culture of the African people. We have a culture. And of course, that culture is that when brothers and sisters are fighting, we look for elder, and the elder come in and make peace between us. And then we smile, we shake our hands and goes away. In the other hand, in the Western world, What they do is that when they have conflict with somebody else, it's because of dominance, power. So they fight to maintain control.
According to legal experts, if this bill goes through, it will be illegal for members of the Ethiopian diaspora to send money back home or to move freely between the two countries. How should other African countries react to the bill? Because it is Ethiopia today, and it will be them tomorrow.
Yeah, that was a very a delicate question. Again, the Ethiopia in the diaspora, we have a lot of Ethiopians in the United States, especially, and we have to understand that the Western world they are not looking for our best interests. It has never been. It has never been. Look at from the time of colonization. Pretty much before colonization, we have slavery, right? The time of slavery, and then colonizations, and after colonizations, they say independence, and we still didn't have independence. We're still having people managing us and telling us what to do, So they have never ever looked into our own best interest. So the people in the diaspora has to start looking on how they can be able to support the Ethiopian people. So what happened is that no amount of protest, and I believe that no amount of protest, will help to resolve this issue. What they're going to happen is even the Ethiopians, the diaspora, the protest, all what they're going to do is they're going to mount pressure back to the government back home to appeal to accept this sanction. And when that happened, then we fail because again, all of these sanctions is for the benefit of the Western power. There is nothing that they do that doesn't benefit them. We can see that they are because they care about us. They have never cared about us. They don't care. So we have to start believing in ourselves, both Ethiopians in the diaspora and those back home. We have to be able to collaborate together, start working on building sustainable systems so that even when something like this come in, it's not going to impact them anyways, because we're going to have systems that are going to support the current, situations that the virus or the country of Ethiopia is facing. And this also has to go to the entire African continent as well, where we can be able to reach out for help. If we need help, let's be able to reach out to our brothers and sisters in the continent for help, other than asking help from the diaspora because from the Western power. Because when you ask them help, they are coming there to achieve something. They don't give anything without taking back. And what they take back is always double. So we don't want to put Ethiopia in a very big problems because again, for Ethiopia to yield into these, it's just going to cause more problems for the Ethiopian people because the after effect of this bill will cause more harm in the future for the Ethiopian people.
This bill surely affects the rights of Ethiopian diasporas in the United States. People cannot do what they want to do with their money. For instance, they cannot send it back to their old mommy to help her in her retirement.
It is absurd, and if they have to do that, then that's against the law, because everybody, if you work money and the money is yours, you have to be able to use it how you want to use it. People that live in the United States, they work, they pay taxes. So that they've given the part to the government, and any leftover has to be what they want to do with the money. So long as I not do anything illegal, you cannot stop me from sending money to my parents. You cannot stop me from sending money to my own friends because that is very illegal. And I believe that we can sanction, the policy or whoever make that decisions. Or if America make it, they can be taken up for into the court of law because that's against. That's against that's against the policy in the United States. And if they have to change that because of that effect, because of saying that is to sponsor, because this is what they're going to say. They're going to say that you are doing that to sponsor tourism. Now, what proof do they have? So if they say that you're sending money because you want to sponsor terrorism, they have the backing. They'll always twist it around. No, they have to have the proof for them to show that people cannot send money back home. But again, it's against the law. They cannot do that. They cannot prohibit that. And I urge the people in the Ethiopians in the diaspora, those in the United States, if the United States stop them from sending money, they can take them to court. They can pursue the United States government to court, and it's their right to do so.
Experts tell us HR 6600 is designed to cripple the country, a democratically elected government, and help the TPLF to undo the reform process that has been going through in the last 3 or 4 years. What can they say about the current US policy towards Africa, towards Ethiopia?
Well, again, it's the pretty much democracy, I would say, it doesn't really exist because it comes a lot of corruption, especially in Africa. It's a propaganda, right? If you see the dominance, how United States is trying to dominate the world, through the means of democracy, it is not actually democracy. It's just a propaganda and it just promote corruptions and war.
You're watching Messenger from Amhara Media Corporation. Today, Messenger asks us, could sanctions stabilize, democratize, or create peace in Ethiopia?
The African, first of all, we are different from them. The African people is completely different from the Western power, the Western world. And so it is, they are doing everything possible to cripple, the economy of Ethiopia, because they have made Ethiopia to depend on that economy, because they have been able to build, a power, some kind of a power where it controls everybody else, control every other country that depends on that system. So what I will always say is that this is the high time. We should look at it in a positive way, right? This is the high time for us to come together, to put resources together and start building sustainable systems. And this is where United Pan-Africanist Movement comes in, because we have studied the system. We realize that the only way we can be able to get out of these is to be able to build sustainable systems that we will not depend on the Western power. We will not depend on the World Bank. We will not depend on the UN. We will not depend on America or Europe or anybody. We can be able to use our natural resources. We use our intellect, because we have intelligent people of course, in Ethiopia and of course, entire Africa. So we can use our own intellect and build sustainable system. We should try to invest in the country. When we invest outside of a country, they can easily cripple us, just like right now. They have been in Democratic Republic of Congo for over 20 years, but yet there is still war going on, and there is still child labor, there is still problems going on in the Democratic Republic of Congo.
Sanctions are supposed to target people in high position, decision makers, but this bill HR 6600 affects ordinary people, women and children, especially millions of people in Afar and Amhara who are in need of humanitarian aid. How inhumane is this bill, given the current situation in the country?
You see, they know that the only way to cripple a country is to make the population to suffer, the masses to suffer, So they are not doing this because they want to help the people of Ethiopia. No. Or they want to help the people of Africa. No, that's not why they're doing it. They are doing it so that the people of Africa should suffer, the more. So if they wanted to help the people of Africa or the people of Ethiopia, they would have been sanctioning AU. The African Union is the one responsible to have come into Ethiopia to fix the problem. And if they're not able to do it, they would have called, hey, why are you guys not, making sure that this problem is fixed? We're going to sanction you for not helping the African people to strive, or to resolve the internal problems, the internal crisis in it. So they boycott AU, they go straight to the country and do whatever they want to do. So if you look at it very well, the impact, the sense behind it, it is not to help anybody in Ethiopia. It is not. So that is why they will do everything possible to people. Unfortunately, people that are going to suffer are going to be the most vulnerable people, like the women and the children, because they have a little bit of no help, so they have to depend on other people. They know the wealthy, they had money already served in their bank account, and of course they will leave. There's no way they're going to be able to, sanction them, because they don't have a lot that they can that will impact, that will change anything in the country. And again, the people that have money, that are wealthy in the country of Ethiopia, they are small percentage, while the majority of the percentage does not have money. So the way they can make the country suffer is to penalize those that don't have anything to suffer the more. And when they suffer, the rich also going to suffer, because the poor are the one that also make the rich to become richer. So Again, it's the whole idea about this sanction. It is not to help any Ethiopians, neither the governments or those who are fighting the other terrorist group, or the people that are just down there trying to make the day to day. It is not to help them; it's to destroy the country so that they can be able to make them to go on their knees to beg them, because this is what they want Africa to be beggars at all times. No, but we say today that it is enough. We cannot beg anymore. It's time for us to build our own system and not rely on them.
The African Union as a policy doesn't approve sanctions against a democratically elected government. When we see the current US bill against Ethiopia, it is even against the African Union policy on sanctions.
Yes, absolutely. And the AU sanction has been very more effective than even the one from the UN and, of course, also the United States. So that is the reason why every country that the United States have sanctioned, we've isolated pretty much a country like North Korea, right? But they are still striving, they are still doing whatever they want to do. So what I'm saying is that the strategy of dominance has been failing. The Western power, including America, is failing. America is falling right now as I'm speaking, and they are looking for ways where they can be able to maintain these powers by making people to depend on them. Once you depend on them, they can have control over you. They can have dominance over you. So again, this is not democratical. This is not legal. This is not, this is actually a human right violations, So it is not right. And because they're the world power, nobody will say anything. They can do whatever they want to do. They can say whatever they want to say. Nobody will question them because, again, why? They have put people in place in different organizations like the UN, like the Security Council and all that all over the place, and they are from allies, that depends on them that they make the decision. Again, these are the same people that they want to have control over the entire world. And they will do everything possible to maintain that control. So them coming, against an democratically elected government, you can see that they are failing.
You're watching Messenger from Amhara Media Corporation. Today, Messenger asks us, could sanctions stabilize, democratize, or create peace in Ethiopia?
This is a means of weakness, that, they are trying, you can see that they are now the bad people because they are funding, you can see that it is possible they are funding the terrorism to take over the government because, again, if you are against the government, it therefore means that you are working with the people that are against that government, right? If you are with the government, therefore, you will support the government to fight against terrorism, like they said they have been doing in other countries. So because I believe that the governments of Ethiopia has not been yielding to the demands of the United States, of the Western power, so they have to find other means to frighten them and, of course, to find a way to fight against them. And that is the reason why, if Ethiopia government is very smart, they have to find a way to resolve these conflicts that they have between the people. It is a brothers and sisters conflict. And again, I did mention in the beginning that when brothers and sisters are fighting on our own African culture, we call an elder, and the elder come there and put us in a council and discuss and then bring a resolution. And what we do before we leave that particular place, we shake our hands, we give hugs, we smile and walk away, we live back as brothers and sisters. But in the Western world, that's not how it works. They pick the gun, they kill you. They shoot you, they destroy you, they sabotage you, do everything possible to eliminate you because they want to always maintain dominance. When you see them fighting, it's because of dominance, because of power. And so that is what they are trying to do right now in Ethiopia. Being against the government is a very bad thing, for America. And we're going to point it out at every given point that if you are against an elected, person, governments in Africa, then therefore means you are an enemy to Africa. And the entire Africa, the president should speak against that. The AU should speak against that. And all of us as Pan-African people should speak against that. We are not going to accept it. It doesn't matter, how big they are, how hard, how powerful they think they can be, they will have to speak against that because it is inhuman for them to do that.
According to legal experts, if the bill HR 6600 goes through, it will hurt rebuilding efforts in a fight in Amhara where public service institutions were looted and destroyed by the TPLF. Considering this sanction comes from the most powerful country on the planet against the least disadvantaged developing country, which is already suffering from conflict and drought. What can you say about the current US administration, particularly State Department officials who have this deep entrenched link with the hardcore TPLF leaders?
I don't know how I can put it, but I feel so sorry for the State Department or the Department of Treasury, whatever, Foreign Affairs in America doing this, to the people of Ethiopia, And again, if, like you said, if the bill passed, people in that region are gonna suffer, Already Ethiopia has incurred a lot of loss from this war, property damage, human life, and of all many other things, instability and all that stuff. So we cannot take more of these things. So again, what United States wants is for the government to yield to that. And if we yield to that, we're still gonna face consequences. We might not see it today. We might feel like they're gonna come in there and rebuild everything, but this is what they do, when they come in, they support, they rebuild and all that stuff, and we feel everything is okay, but we are paying back to that. There is nothing that United States does outside of United States that is for free. If they cannot give anything to the citizens of the United States, anything for free, there is nothing they can give you for free, or me for free, or the people of Africa, or any other part of the world for free. Nobody lives in this country for free. I'm in the United States. I don't live here for free. I pay everything, from the water I drink, from the food I eat, from the gas and everything, and so on, and I pay my taxes. If I don't pay my taxes, I go to jail. If I don't pay my property taxes, they seize the property and the state take the property from me. So if we cannot have anything for free, how do we think that people of Ethiopia will have it for free? We should be thinking. So I want to say that the Ethiopian people should start looking and praising the people of Ethiopia themselves. We should look within us. We should not call America in any of our business, because when you start calling the Western world to come into your business, you are doing what we call laundering in public. So you expose everything that you have in the public, and of course they have control over all of those things. So the people of Ethiopia should not yield to this. Again, I will call it, they should not yield, in praising America, in calling America for help and everything like that. We should look within us, within the Ethiopian people and within the African people, to resolve the problem, to rebuild and to regain everything that's lost. In whatever whichever we go, even we accept it or not, we are still going to, Ethiopia is still going to face heavy loss. So, but Ethiopia should start rebuilding from the side of strength. When I talk about the side of strength is that they should stand with the people. What is best for the Ethiopian people? They should not yield. They should not wait for foreigners like the Western power to tell them what to do on how to treat their own people. No, that's not right.
How revealing is this about the US, a country that portrays itself as a force for good, a force for freedom, a force for democracy around the world?
We say America, like democracy, pushing on democracy in the entire continent. And we can see that they are against democracy right now. So this is the time that we call in America, if you are against the government and elect the government, then you are against democracy, So what kind of democracy they are actually doing in the world? We looked at, again, a case of Libya. They said they had to take out the dictator so they can put a democratically elected president. Now they have not been peace in Libya till today. Libya is still struggling to recover from the loss that's caused by the same people. So again, I will always say that it's a very big shame to the United States for being against a government that was democratically elected in Ethiopia. Maybe they don't like it. I will believe maybe they don't like that. They don't like the prime minister, because again, it's the Pan-African. And of course, the United States against Pan-Africanism, because these are people that want to unite the African people around the world. And because of that, they don't like that to happen because they like to, they are ruling by divide and rule, right? So they separate people so that they can be able to rule them. They can make them to become dependent. When you're dependent to them, then they rule you, they control you. Everything that you do, everything you say, everything you eat, everything you drink, everything you wear, everything what even you have to go to the hospital. So a sovereign country, a big country, a world power country like America, this is the way we're gonna use to expose a country for being against a democratically elected president, in Ethiopia, because this is a very big problem. If they are preaching about the democratically elected, leaders, they should be supporting the Prime Minister of Ethiopia other than being against him.
Powerful country like the United States sanction a democratically elected government in favor of a rival group that commit dozens of massacres, atrocities. What kind of lesson could this give to other rebel groups in the continent?
We call rebel groups around the continent. We have issues across. I cannot speak if I don't know their problem. I cannot speak for them. That I cannot speak for the unknown problems that we have. Sometimes, again, I always say people are fighting is because they have they're either being triggered to fight or a group of people have been paid to fight. So what I'm going to say to all the rebel groups in Africa in general, is that we should understand that whatever we are doing, we are destroying our own people. Whatever infrastructure we've got, we don't have so many of them. If we are destroying buildings, we are destroying lives, we are dissimulating, young people that are trying to go to school, like students and all that, and killing of women, raping, and of course do all kinds of atrocities. We are destroying our society. So and I think that it is a time for us to put guns down. Let us be able to, there are many ways we can call on our president. There are many ways we can call on our leaders. There are many ways we can bring change in the country without taking guns and killing and destroying the little that we have. As we keep destroying, we are the same one losing. I don't care if somebody comes from Europe or from America to give you guns, to give you money to fight. If you do not have a better country, if you cannot live freely in your country, you don't have freedom. And everything that everybody seeks is freedom. So in conclusion is that for us all to live free is to live in a peaceful and stable society. And that peaceful and stable society, it needs people like you and I to make it peaceful. Every single rebels in every single countries in Africa, they are citizens of those countries, and we should not let the outside to influence us. They have been influencing us for a very long time. From slavery, they came and lied to us. They make us sell our brothers and sisters abroad. They make us ship, take away our brothers and sisters, the children, young, strong, brilliant men, and send them to America and to Europe and to other parts of the Caribbean. Now they are bringing guns to us and bringing monies to us because they know that we are poor. We don't have money. We don't have resources. So they are bringing those money to us so that we can be against our own people. This is not going to go well for you. It's not going to go well for anybody who is against lives, because we have had, a better, stable society, before all of this happened. So let's go back to that. Let's revisit that. If we have problems with our brothers and sisters, let us call them and let us talk about it. Let us invite our elders. Let us do it the African way.
You're watching Messenger from Amhara Media Corporation. Today, Messenger asks us, could sanctions stabilize, democratize, or create peace in Ethiopia?
Where we come together, we sit on a fireside, we talk about our problems. If we need to fight, let us fight. Let us fight each other, and let us not kill each other. So after the fighting, we get tired, we sit down, we know that, okay, we are brothers and sisters, we shake hands, we give hugs, we go back home, and we build a better society. So I call on every single armed groups in the continent to put their arms down, because that is not who you are. That is not who we are. We did not build guns. We did not manufacture guns. And then we did not control the society by embezzling money, by stealing money, or by trying to take money from people, or by force. So we have to find a way to make peace and live freely, because there's nothing better than freedom. And freedom can only come in when we have a stable society. And again, the United Pan-Africanist movement, it is calling on every single Africans that it is time for us to unite. It doesn't matter what language you speak. It doesn't matter what dialect you speak, whether you speak Amharic, whether you speak Arabic, whether you speak French, whether you speak English, whether you speak Swahili, whether you speak Portuguese, or whether you speak Spanish. We are all one people. This is the time for us all to unite, come together. Let us fix our own internal problems. We're all going to fight anyways, but let us find amicable ways to fix this problem and resolve the problems so we can have peace in the country. And there will not be any development in the country if there's instability. So the only way to bring development in every country in the continent, we have to maintain peace and stability. If we want to enjoy the life that has been given to us, the freedom of the life that has been given to us, we have to keep the peace and maintain stability. The United Pan-Africanist movement will do everything in its power to support governments, that are working for the people, to support the people, make sure we can empower our own people. We can make sure we build sustainable systems. We can make sure that our children can go to school and become valuable to the African society, not to the society of the Western power, but to become a valuable persons in our African society. Again, we are all organizing a global conference in Egypt where we're going to sit there and we talk about these problems, not just talking about them, implementing them, because when we talk about them, we're going to start implementing, integrating businessmen and women, integrating our powers, our policies, and our systems and all that, so that we can be able to become, look into different systems and see how we can amend the broken ones, and we can fix them. And of course, the one that is not working, we can replace them. But it is time for us to meet down there. We're going to meet in Egypt. We're going to implement them. And I call on all African people to be there, to be in that event, because it's going to be powerful. We need 5 million people to come down there so that we can create that wave or revolution to show the world that we can come together. People from the north, south, east, west of Africa, and those in the diaspora, those in the Caribbean, in the United States, in Europe, and Asia, that we can all come in at one place and be able to talk how we can move the African continent forward.
The most dangerous bill is HR 6600. They call it Ethiopia Stabilization, Peace and Democracy Act. The point is, do you believe that the sanction will bring about all these promises, or are these Trojan forces to hide their intentions?
I don't think so. Again, if that happened, it therefore means that it was a means to sabotage the country. Because has anybody find out what these people want? If America can come in there, or the bill HR 6600 can bring the end to the crisis in Ethiopia, it therefore means there's something more further behind this crisis. So it is the place for Ethiopian people, the Ethiopian government, to get more do some more investigation, bring in helps within the continent and within the community of Ethiopia that will be able to identify the problem, because we cannot fix a problem without knowing what the problem is. It doesn't matter if it's a fight, a serious war that is going on. We have to be able to identify the problem, because again, killing without identifying the problem is never going to stop the problem. War is never an answer. War is just a means to suppress one people by giving power to the winner. The one who wins suppress the one who loses, and that the one who loses have anger and hate and frustration in them, which one day is still going to escalate to something else. So it is always better to make sure that those people that are in war, those people that are fighting, they are satisfied by the means of negotiations, by the means of reconciliations, by the means of meeting halfway to say that I give this one away and I give that one away. Let us come together and let us move forward. And everybody goes home happy. That's the best way we can be able to resolve the problem. But I don't know. I cannot tell you that it was not going to fix it. It might fix it, but again, if the bill HR 6600 fixed the problem, then there was more into it than just what the Ethiopian government thought it was. Except there's something they're not telling us. But I know the people right now in Ethiopia are confused. They don't know if they should accept it or they shouldn't accept it. But all what I can tell you is that in the aspect as I am a Pan-Africanist, what I would say is that the people of Ethiopia cannot give in to the West, you know, and I want to tell them that it is time for them to start working with each other. We let us start working with each other to end conflicts, to end wars, to end problems, so that we can be able to make our children, because we all have children, we can be able to make our children to have a better society. Let us not praise America for what they do. Let us not praise Europe for what they do, because again, they have never had the best interest of African people. Let us not praising ourselves. Let us praise the people that helps the poor, the needy, to grow, to become better. Let us give that praise to our own people. Let us look inside of us and look into our dignity as African people to see that there is a need for us all to be able to work together in achieving this peace that we need.
People in Ethiopia or in Amhara region are not anti-America in any form or way, but we are trying to send a very clear message to the United States that we wanted to live in peace, in freedom and democracy in our own land. We do not want the tyranny of TPLF. We have suffered for 3 decades and it is enough. We are trying to send this message. Do not help a terrorist group that is raping our women, children, that is destroying hospitals. What do you say to good people in the United States who are eager for the creation of a better world, a more democratic and open society everywhere in this world, in this planet?
In every society, you have good people, you have bad people. But what determines the balance of a society is a system that rules the people, despite whether they are good or bad. There are, like you did mention, there are very good people in the United States. I have met a lot of them. And of course, they're white people. And I think they'll be more good to me than even my own brothers and sisters that are black, that are Africans. And I want to say that it is time for the good people in America to start looking more into what the government has been doing. And of course, to help to put a stop for anything that they're going to see that's going to be destroying lives in other places. We all have, in America, there's a culture of protection. You want to protect your family, your children. And, and they will do that at every given point. Every American know that it is their right, to protect their children, to protect their women, and to protect their family. Now, what happens if we go to other countries and destroy other countries, their women, their children, and of course, even some good men, and those people ended up don't have homes to live in. Some of them die of that and all that. They destroy hospitals, schools. Now children cannot have access to school. Let's look at, if it was your child in the United States, what would you do? So I call on the good people, the good-hearted people in Congress in the United States, those in different part of the government in the United States, to instead look of the goodness of the African people. Let us see how much the African people has helped this country to be where it is today. The United States is United States because of the African Americans, of the African people who live the continent of Africa. Let us be able to help the continent of Africa to become a better place. Let us be able to support little children, men and women of Africa. Let us find the goodness in them, and let us try to destroy, talk about against the badness and what others are trying to do. But let us support what is good for the people of Africa, the masses of Africa, the people of Ethiopia. It is very important. Now we have children. Last said you stop helping them with food and all that stuff. Now people have died because of hunger and starvation and all that fight. So I call on the good-minded people in America to make better decisions, to make better policies that will help people outside of America to live a better life. When we go down there and we destroy women, children, we are putting more curse on the United States. We are causing more hate on the United States. The United States cannot go anywhere and be boast or be proud of who they are or what they are. This is a very powerful country, like they made themselves, and it's been powerful because of diversity. People have come from Africa, have come from South America, have come from Europe, and have come from Asia to build this country, to make it a better place, a refuge. So let us be able to portray that image to make sure that if we are going into any country, we are going there for the good of the people, not the benefit of some particular people because they want resources that they're going to build generations. Because in the end of the day, we're all going to come to this world and we're all going to die someday. But the thing I can always ask is, why you were on earth, why you were in this world, what good did you do? How did we suffer? It was said that we are all one body with many parts. Without the right hand, I cannot support the left hand. Without the head, I cannot support the body, or without the body, it can't support the head. So we need every human being in this planet to be able to find goodness in human, and let us shame the devil. Let us be able to work together. Let us be able to support and be able to speak against evil, but let's support goodness and let us build goodness in every single human being on the planet. That's what I can say.
It's great to talk to you, Benedicto Mbango, Global Chairperson of United Pan-Africanist Movement. I thank you very much.
Thank you very much, brother. It was a pleasure being here again today.
You are watching The Messenger. I'm Johannes Lijalam. Thank you for watching too.